All right, let's take a look at section 2.5. We have formulas and additional applications from geometry. I'm going to get that out of our way. All right, so we have formula. Just to be clear, a formula is a type of equation, but it's something that's used in real life. For example, if I have P equals 4S, that is, P stands for perimeter and S stands for the side. So this is actually the formula for the perimeter of a square. Some useful formulas to know: area of a circle. Interest is equal to the principal times the rate times the time. This is converting Celsius into Fahrenheit for temperature. So ones I would expect you to memorize would be perimeter of a rectangle, 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Area of a rectangle, length times width. And that's about all of them I can think of offhand. So if something comes up, I will say, yes, you need to memorize this. Okay, so find the value of the remaining variable. We know that the perimeter is 126 and the width is 25. So we're going to replace our P with 126. And we're going to replace our W with 25. And we have to solve for L. So 126, we are going to simplify the right side. 2 times 25 is 50. And we have to get the L by itself. So we need to get rid of the 50 by subtracting. Should give me 76, I believe. And 2 times L, opposite of multiply is divide. And we get 38. Perimeter refers to the measure of the outer boundary. If we have a polygon, for example, a rectangle, square, triangle, we add up the lengths of the sides. For perimeter, you always add up the lengths of the sides. That's important to know. So we have a farmer, and he has 800 meters of fencing to enclose a rectangular field. Just a heads up, I love to put this question on a test or a quiz or a homework assignment. So this is an important one. So it's helpful if you draw a picture of what's going on. And we know we have 800 meters of fencing. Fencing goes around the outside edge. Okay, fencing will go on around the outside edge, which means perimeter. So we need to know the formula for perimeter of a rectangle. So it's helpful to write it down. Okay, we're talking about the width and we're talking about the length. So again, you should write down the word width and the word length. GTH. One of these is not described. One of these is not described. So it says the width is something or other, which means the length is not described. So we're going to call that L. You could call it X. You could call it anything you like. L is helpful because it suggests the unknown quantity that we're trying to find. So width, 50 meters less than the length. Remember, less than, we have to switch the order. So instead of doing 50 minus L, we have to do L minus 50. Find the dimensions of the field. So we know our perimeter, that's our 800. We don't know what L is, or in this case, we don't know what our length is. But we do know what width is. Width is L minus 50. Make sure you put that in parentheses and don't write the 2 like I did. All right, I wish this had an eraser. It doesn't. Okay, so we are going to solve. So we have 800 is equal to 2L. We're going to distribute the 2. And remember to multiply the 2 times the 50. We're going to combine like terms. And then we have to get the 100 on the other side. So we're going to add 100 to both sides. All right, 4 times L, opposite of multiply is divide. And how many times did I go in? 2, 2, 5, I believe. Let me double check. My brain isn't working this morning. So 900 divided by 4, yeah, 225. Okay, so it says find the dimensions. Be careful when it says find the dimensions. The word dimensions means both the length and the width. So don't stop when you get the length. You need to find both. So the length is going to be 225 meters, and the width. Remember to find the width. We take the length and subtract 50. So we're going to take our width is our length, 225, and subtract 50. So if I subtract 50, I get 175. Okay, there you go. Longest side of a triangle is 1 inch longer than the medium side. Medium side is 5 inches longer than the shortest side. We've got a triangle. When you draw the sides, make sure the sides are different lengths. Okay. And we're trying to find the perimeter. Okay, perimeter, we add up the sides. So we've got a long side, we've got a medium side, and we've got a short side. Okay, one of these is not described. So this one says long is something or other. Medium is something or other. So the one that's not described is the shortest side. I prefer not to use the variable s for short because my s's look an awful lot like my 5s. So I'm going to use x instead. You can use any variable you like. What do we know about the medium side? Medium is 5 inches longer than. Longer than you're going to add. So 5 inches longer than the shortest side. 5 inches longer than the shortest side. The long side, be careful with this one because it's 1 inch longer than the medium side. Medium side is 5 plus 1. So if I have 1 plus my medium side, that will give me 6 plus x. Perimeter, you're going to add up the sides. So you're going to take your long side plus your medium side plus your short side. And we know that is going to be 32. So 6 plus x for my long side, 5 plus x for my medium side, and x for my short side. Don't forget that short side. Everybody always forgets. All right. You're going to combine like terms. So I have 3 x's and 11. Get the x by itself. So subtract our 11. 3x is equal to 21. And divide by 3. And you get 7 for x. But we want the lengths of all 3 sides. So x is 7. Medium is 5 plus 7. And long is 6 plus 7. Inches. I forgot my unit. Sorry about that. Inches. Area of a triangle. All right, so we've got a triangle. That's not a triangle. Let me try again. Now we got a triangle. And we've got the height. And this is our base. Okay, so remember for area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. And we know the area is 120. All right, the height is 24, find the base. So we know we have an area of 120. We don't know what the base is, but they did tell us the height. Okay. So to make our life easier, what we're going to do is we're going to switch the order here. So we got 120 is equal to 1/2 times 24 times b. Guys, we're asking 1/2 of 24. I don't know of a single person that doesn't know how to find 1/2 of 24. But just in case, remember you divide by the bottom and multiply the top. So you have 120 is equal to 12b. Divide by 12, and you get b is equal to 10 meters. Remember with area, you're going to have the units squared. So that's just kind of a heads up there. Vertical and straight angles. Okay, vertical angles are opposite of each other. So for example, we look at 2 and 4, we would call those vertical angles, and vertical angles have equal measure. Okay, so 2 and 4 would have the same measure, and 3 and 1 would also have the same measure. Straight angles, also called supplementary angles, would have, like 2 and 3, for example, they would add up to 180 degrees. All right. So here we have a pair of angles that are supplementary. They're going to add up to 180 degrees. So if I take this one, 6x plus 29, and add my other one, x plus 11, I know I have to get 180 degrees. So I am going to combine like terms. Let's see, 30, 40 is equal to 180. Subtract my 40. 7x is equal to 140, and divide by 7. Now, a lot of students will stop here and say, you know, x is equal to 20 degrees, and then they stop. But that's not what it's asking. Find the measure of each angle. So this angle is x plus 11. So we have 20 plus 11. So this angle right here is going to be 31 degrees. And this is 6 times x plus 29. And man, my brain is not working this morning. So 120, so 149. There you go. So the two angles would be 149 degrees and 31 degrees. Make sure you answer the question that's asked. Okay. When solving for a variable in a formula, we treat the specified variable as if it were the only variable in the equation, and we treat everything else as if they were numbers. All right, so let's see what that's going to look like. Same steps to solve the equation that we would use to solve equations that had numbers in it. So for example, if I were to, this is the formula for interest. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. This is simple interest. And we were to solve for t. The reason why we would do this is sometimes we're just trying to rearrange the formula in such a way that it is easier for what we're trying to do. So let's suppose we know the interest, we know the principal, we know the rate for 100 problems, but we don't know the time. So if we solve the original formula for t, it just makes our life a little bit easier. Save us a little bit of time. Actually, quite a bit of time if we have 100 problems. So we're going to treat p as a number, treat r as a number, and t is going to be our variable. So think of it this way. We've got a number times t. To get rid of the number times the number, we would the opposite of times is divide. So we would divide by P and R. And we have T by itself. So that's our goal. If it says solve for T, we've got to get T by itself. All right, solving for H, right here. Treat this as if it were the only variable in the equation. This is a number, this is a number. We're going to pretend this is a number. This is a number, this is a number. We're going to pretend this is a number. Okay, so if I were to solve for H, we've got numbers times H plus numbers being added. Well, you always do the added, take care of the added first. So right now I have S minus 2 pi r squared is equal to 2 pi r h. And I'm still trying to get, remember this is my only variable, these are numbers. Numbers times h, we're going to divide. Now be really super careful when you divide, because you cannot cancel the 2's, you cannot cancel the pi's, and you cannot cancel one of the r's, because this is subtract. If it were multiply, multiplication and subtraction have completely different rules. Subtraction, you cannot simplify these. Do not simplify them. Do not simplify them. These you can cancel because there is no addition or subtraction here. So final answer, H would be S minus 2 pi r squared over 2 pi r. Okay, reminder, do not simplify these when there's a subtract here or an addition. All right, solving for C. So trying to get this variable by itself. We're going to subtract our 32. And remember, when we're trying to get rid of this fraction in front of the variable, rather than dividing, it's easier if we multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to take 5/9 and multiply. And typically, this is how we leave it. You wouldn't necessarily know that unless you happen to know the formula for C, but yeah, we usually leave it like this. If you really wanted to simplify it further, you could distribute the 5/9. This right here, solve for y, we do this a lot in this class. We do it all the time. So please make sure this is one that you're going to star. Make sure that you know how to do this. So we need to get the y by itself. So we're going to take our negative 2x and add it to both sides. We always put the x in front. That is just tradition as opposed to a mathematical necessity. Necessity. So there you go. Y is equal to 2x plus 4. This one, we're going to subtract our x. But this one has a 3 times, so we're going to divide by 3. Now, when we're talking about this type of equation, instead of dividing both sides by 3, which is perfectly acceptable, traditionally we divide each term by 3. This is a lot more common, and we would write this as negative 1/3 x plus 3 is usually how we write it. Okay, so this is a lot more traditional. You're going to see it like this a whole lot more than if we were to divide both sides by 3. And there you go.